Are you struggling to lose weight? Have a ravenous appetite? Have you been eating way too many carbs or treats lately? A 2 to 3 day fat fast might just be the strategy you need to get back on track. Generally speaking, I don't recommend quick fixes, juice cleanses, or any other extreme temporary plan. However, I do think there are some great tools that can be implemented over the short term to help you accomplish your goals. Fat fasting is one of those that, when done properly, can be a really powerful way to kickstart your fat burning. So, what is fat fasting? This is a 2 to 3 day plan where you are consuming significantly higher fat than normal while consuming very little overall carbohydrate, possibly even zero carbohydrates, and very limited protein. You're essentially only eating fat for a few days. Why would you do this? Because it helps you shift your body from burning glucose to burning fat. In a few short days, you're training your body how to efficiently use fat for fuel, because that's all you're providing it. One major key here is that this plan is really only recommended for 2 to 3 days to get your metabolism shifted. If you stay on a plan like this for too long, your body can start to sense starvation and start to break down lean tissue like muscle, organs, and bones for the necessary protein because you're not consuming any. So you really do need to start consuming protein to prevent losing lean tissue. So when should you fat fast? This is a great strategy to implement under a few circumstances. First, when you're planning to do an extended fast of consuming no food for more than 24 hours, but you're already struggling with hunger or low energy. You can also do a fat fast after vacations or holidays when far too many sweets and carbohydrates have been consumed. When, despite healthy eating and exercising, you're struggling to lose weight. And lastly, if you're battling with sugar or carbohydrate cravings. So, what do you eat during a fat fast? What you choose to eat during a fat fast really does matter in how successful you will be. Choosing only a couple of foods from this list, like 3 or 4 foods or 1 to 2 different meals for all of the food that you're going to consume over these 2 to 3 days. As strange as it sounds, one of the successful drivers here is that it becomes boring. You don't want to love eating this way. You actually want to be bored so that food loses its appeal. This helps you decrease your appetite and your cravings. So foods that you would choose while doing a fat fast. Choose 3 or 4 from fatty fish like salmon, tuna, sardines. You can have whole eggs, poultry with skin, bacon or other fatty meats, olive oil, coconut oil, MCT oil, avocado oil, macadamia nut oil. You can also have other coconut products like coconut cream, coconut manna, coconut milk, full fat canned, butter, ghee, tallow, duck fat, olive oil or avocado oil based mayonnaise, avocados, olives. You can spice your food, but again, you want your food to be boring. You can also include things like bone broth, but you do want to make sure there's no other additives. And of course, you can have coffee and tea. Now, dairy and nuts are 2 additional considerations. Many people are sensitive to dairy, and it would not be recommended to consume higher amounts for several days. If this is you, definitely avoid dairy. If you don't believe you have any sensitivity to dairy, I would recommend that you stick to quality cheeses, cream cheese, heavy whipping cream, sour cream, or cottage cheese rather than yogurts and milk. Nuts can be another highly inflammatory food that many people are sensitive to. I'd recommend sticking to macadamia nuts for these few days if you do want to consume nuts as a fat source. How much should you eat while doing a fat fast? When you're consuming these foods, often they'll be somewhat self-limiting because they're so filling. Generally speaking, people will consume around 1,000 to 1,500 calories per day on this type of fast, but it's not really that important to track over these few days. Just eat to satiety. You can also eat as often as you'd like over these 2 to 3 days. Fats have the least impact on blood sugar and insulin, so this is a time when you don't need to worry about avoiding snacking or eating too often. Where do people fail when fat fasting? First of all, having too many different foods. Remember, you want this to be boring. As you lose interest in food, you'll naturally eat less. This will tremendously help you when you finish the fast and you start to add other foods back in. Number 2 is consuming nuts or dairy. They can be very difficult to digest and can cause inflammation. Some people find that they also increase cravings and appetite. And number 3 is eating too much protein. If you choose meats that are not fatty meats, you may be consuming too much protein. This can prevent the fat fast from working fully by providing the body with protein that can then be converted to glucose in the body. Now, what do you do after a fat fast? What, when, and how you eat following a fat fast can make a huge difference. First of all, you don't want to just jump right back into eating a full meal loaded with flavor and variety. This will likely overwhelm your system. So start slow. Try having some bone broth to ease your body back in. Then slowly add in easier to digest foods like cooked vegetables and lean proteins. Keep your overall carbohydrate consumption low as well, or you'll just undo all of the great metabolic changes you've just initiated. Stick to non-starchy vegetables while avoiding or strictly limiting grains, fruits, and starchy vegetables. Why start up those carb cravings again? If you want to continue burning fat, but make it your own body fat, transition for a few days to consuming lean proteins and cut back on fat consumption. Why? Your body's already on track with burning fat from all the fat you've been consuming. If now you take away the fat that you're consuming while still keeping your carbohydrates low, your body will search for fat to burn, pulling it from your fat stores. So there you have it, fat fasting. This can be a great metabolic boost that you can add to your routine periodically.